is who we are. Let's start from scratch. I'm going to open up the application, which in this case is the DaVinci Resolve.19. So the version is 19. This is approved version. This is not the beta version. This is the version that is now available for download. There are two versions. One is a paid version where it has a whole bunch of additional features. It's about $300. You get a dongle with it. The version that you can get for free may not have all the features that I'm representing. Anyway, so here is the project that I'm going to be working with. Generally, when you start DaVinci Resolve, you have a untitled project, then you're doing a show 1920 1080. What I'm saying is that you, the project settings, are able to choose what the aspect ratio is going to be. You can also define what is the frame rate going to be, and when you define that you're going to be recording something like, for example, proxy, you generate proxy media, you can define the space for it, and you can also do cache files when you render some effects. That's the basic premise. Now I have set up something for you, and I called it BMR Webinar September 2024. Let's open it up, double-clicking on it. It should be connected to all the media because I tested it just earlier. So this is the premise. I plan to give you a nice demo of how the machine will function when it has scenarios where you have to have, for example, audio mixing demonstrated. We'll talk about how the color grading works, and we're going to talk about some voice recognition. There's a magic mask tool that is very powerful, and we're going to address them, as I said, by using this diagram here that is telling you, quick assemble, basic color grading, auto subtitles, and whatever else is listed there. So with that, let's define what is that we are dealing with today. In my scenario, I set up a sequence that has some shots. I made those shots blurry, and the way I made them blurry was park on the clip, went into the color. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't explain to you the workspaces. So there are 6 workspaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the 7th workspace is actually a delivery. So with that, I am opening up the edit window. In the edit window, I put together a sequence that has music. Listen to the music. I'm going to play it for you, and you will find something very unique that from the get-go we will be discussing. Here is it, what I put together for you guys. So you notice that there is a band playing, and the band is playing, has instruments, and we're going to go to the section where I separated the instruments. So I have a section that I will put together as an intro-out. I'm going to zoom into the environment, defining where the beginning of that section is going to be. Mark in, go to the end point. There we go. That's where the music stops, and that's going to be looped around section. And watch what happens when I hit the play button, which is going to be shift / play button. I gotta get a woman. I believe in. So the Zoom does not allow me to talk and have music at the same time. So I will just go and show you in the inspector, in the audio component, what audio mixing is now available in the new 19 version. And this is where I'm going to gravitate towards. So I went into the clip, the audio clip. I went into upper right-hand corner, open the inspector, and I'll show you voice isolation, music remixer, and things of that sort. But as I said, I cannot talk, and the music will not be at the same time. So you will hear the music, and you will just see me moving around. So let's try that. It's looping around. Don't get myself together. We're gonna have a little pop together. We're gonna have a little party tonight. I gotta get a woman. I have a little party tonight. I'm gonna get myself together. We're gonna have a little party tonight. I'm gonna get myself together. We're gonna have a little party tonight. I'm gonna get myself together. We're gonna
party tonight. I'm gonna get myself together. We're gonna have a little party tonight. I'm gonna get my...
So you have to admit, this is really cool, and it's happening in real time. So with that, I just showed you one thing. And in the scenario that I was talking about earlier, where we separate things, here's another separation. This is a good separation where you're able to isolate the voice from background. And I have a perfect example for that one. Here is a trade show environment. The guy that is talking is American Engineering Society. He's talking about the product that he is selling, he is demonstrating. So this is a trade show floor. You will hear show floor noise. So listen to it, please. And I'll go again into the inspector upper right-hand corner using the audio tools to isolate the voice. I'm sorry, the music is in there. Let's mute the music so the music doesn't interfere.
Diffusion panels like these.
Okay.
And absorption panels.
With the absorb it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And this is a mix between diffusion with Hawk.
So now if we go into the inspector and we activate the audio element of that clip, the voice isolation turns on. It should be real time. Turns it on. Hello. Come on now. There we go. And we have total voice isolation. Listen and see if you hear any noise.
The absorption panels.
With the absorb it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And this is a mix between diffusion with Hawk and Korg for absorption. Nice. And this is a diffusion panel.
Now the noise is back. You can see that. I'm just going to turn it on and off so you can hear. Hopefully your system is really good audio so you can hear it. If you even have headphones, you should be able, because I'm sending out the signal as stereo. What are the materials? So now you have a Korg here. I see
Hawk, Korg, ABS.
Yes, okay.
MDF, glass reinforced plastic, ceramics, wood, ABS again, and felt.
So that's a cool tool, and it's a live tool. Now, here's the cool thing about this. If I decide that the person saying or whatever he is demonstrating needs to be heard, this was something that was earlier version, and this earlier version is going to be 18.4567. I will say hello to my friend, the timeline, and I'll generate a subtitle from audio. So whatever the person is saying, whatever I am saying, I'm asking him, this should be generated within short period of time. The languages right now that we have available in Blackmagic Resolve are these languages. So whatever you have, if that is what you use, it should be recognizable. Now I set it up to automatic or English. And interestingly, the gentleman as myself, we have an accent. So I wonder how the system will recognize and identify it. Does it differentiate between foreigners talking English, British English, Australian, Canadian, and so on? So I will just leave it auto and let's see what it does. Now it takes time to do it because the system has to kind of initialize, kick it in, and let's see how long it will tell us. It analyzes it, obviously, and it tells me that in a couple of seconds, it should have the subtitles on, and it throws it into the timeline. There we go. So now we're watching it with the subtitles. And watch it. I'm going to save it, Command S it, just in case system goes bad. So I'm going to show it to you full screen. Command F. Watch it.
Into three families. So diffusion panels like these.
Okay.
And absorption panels.
With the absorb it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And this is a mix between diffusion with Hawk and Korg for absorption. And this is a diffusion panel.
What are the materials? So now you have a Korg here.
Hawk.
So I may have some mistakes, obviously, but if you want to correct it, it's easy as I'm showing it to you right now, zooming into the timeline. Activate the section where I need to make an adjustment. Go back into the inspector and you change whatever you need to change there. So this tool is really now much better, much more reliable, and it is very easy to recognize accents and different dialects, different versions of a language. So if you have used this, this is going to be a cool one. So now comes the one that I have a lot of fun with. So if you look at this particular scenario, I have a magic mask. What I did was separate that bicycle, that electric moving two-wheel thing, and I made everybody else black and white. How does that work? Well, the way I did that was the following. In the color environment, if you dealt with colors, you know that there are nodes. The node that I'm looking at is now going to be the default node. And the default node tells me that I have a whole bunch of stuff like natural colors. Well, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. So the natural color, the red and the sign. So the street car and everything else is visible. And you notice that the color of that electrical moving thing is orange. What I did was added a tool that was able to separate it and made a mask out of it. That means that I was in real time analyzing just that thing. I'm going to take off the magic mask and the tools. So right now I have a environment. I'm going to make the real estate also bigger. I'm going to make a orange bicycle. I think it's electric bicycle. I don't know exactly what's the name of it, so you guys can figure it out. Anyways, point is that I'm going to change the color of it. And the color of it is going to be changed by selecting a magic mask. And on the magic mask, I'm going to have an inversion mask, which means everybody else. You see that the magic mask shows me that I have things background, and now reverse everything else other than the selected area. Oh, okay. And the selected area, which is the orange color, is going to be now switched over to purple. Wow. Is it really a good separation? I think it is not bad. Luckily, there is no other elements that were kind of interfering, but I selected it entirely. I'll talk to you about it and I'll demonstrate it. So anyways, so these are pretty much the things that I will do in real time. So how does that work? That would really be good if I show you in real time things like what? Like this. Please observe. I'm going to duplicate a sequence that in this case is the one that I was prepping it for you. So here it is. It is in the sequences, and the sequence is labeled named Resolve Webinar 19. Duplicating it, a couple of choices. One choice is obviously drop down and duplicate the timeline. And I'm going to call it for you guys. For you. Hello. There we go. For you guys. I duplicated everything, and on this one that is duplicated, hello, I'm going to make sure that everything that I have done, I'll do from scratch. Step one, bring in material. Well, how do you bring in material? Well, I need to find out stuff. Music comes in here. For you guys, whatever is there, I'm going to select Command A, delete everything, and bring in music. Music is going to be the, let's say, what you give. Here it is. Music comes in. And I bring it into, let's say, music 2. Now, can I hear it? I muted it, so I need to turn it back on. It's a different music, right?
Your legs are 4 feet long,
but you can hear singing.
You're just
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the section. I'm going to cut it up so it will be a short section, so it will be easy for the computer to analyze.
You're the supermodel, baby. Your legs are 4 feet long.
So my question to the computer is that, does the computer recognize voice recognition when it is music? Well, let's see if it does. Remember, we have a subtitle track. The subtitle track is turned on. So if I right-click on the segment that I just chose and I exit, which means that it should play around, and I tell the computer, please, timeline, recognize it, create subtitles. What English? Well, it's English. It's a guy singing, and there we go. Now, it seemed to me that when I start with music, it doesn't catch it. And that's something that we just learned recently. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I don't start with the music, because the computer is looking to recognize the voice, but it kicks the music in, so that doesn't work for it. So I'm going to start to analyze it, not when the music starts, but a little bit later when the voice comes in. And let's see if that is correcting the scenario. So whatever is before, I don't really care. So you try to find out where the singing exactly starts. And I think that we have it set up. Let's see if I'm correct. Let's see if that works now. Just a testing thing, because some people test something, so it doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work? Now, I think it's working.
You're the supermodel, baby. Your legs are 4 feet long.
Did it work? I think it did. So now we got that out of the way. So it is able to generate some kind of a subtitle from audio. Now, that's very nice and very cool, but here's the big one. I have a whole bunch of videos with audio. I have a scenario where these guys are trying to deliver some product to a guy's house. And there is interaction between the foreman and the people. So I'm going to find a section where there's longer interaction. So watch the section and the guy comes up. Let's play it. Hello.
You're the boss.
Play full screen.
Pack it up, boys.
Huh?
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it,
That's what he said.
but it's already off the truck.
Well, then put it back on, genius.
Ivan, it's Friday out.
I know.
We'll have to go all the way back to the warehouse.
So now you can see that there is interaction between the foreman. Now, this is interesting, and this is something in this version really, really made well. Watch this. If I select the clip, and I know that that's the clip inside my source monitor, and in the upper left-hand corner, there is some buttons. The button I'm looking for is going to be the one when you say, transcribe with speaker detection. The reason why it is speaker detection, because if I have two people, it will say, this is speaker 1, speaker 2. This is how it works. I right-click on it first and make sure the speaker detection is checked off. So then I left-click on it, and now it is going to transcribe the audio. Look at how fast it is. So when the audio is transcribed, it should pop up as a separate window, and you will see the dialogue of that clip in the window floating like this. Fine. Okay. The cool thing here is that if you go somewhere and you hit the space bar, it will tell you where you are.
It's already off the truck.
Well, then put it back on, genius.
Ivan, it's Friday out.
I know.
Like the bouncing ball. But let's say that you guys are watching it in a small iPad or something else. So let's make the fonts bigger. Ah, that's cooler. So we can make the fonts. Now we're talking real television. So if I go back and I hit the space bar,
We'll have to go all the way back to the warehouse. In peak hour traffic.
I know.
It's the semis, Ivan. We'll miss kickoff.
Ladies, if the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to.
now, one thing that is interesting is that right now it says worker 1, worker 1. It seems to me that it doesn't differentiate between 1 and 2 because the character face does not show up. But still, if I want to edit it using the words, in this case, I'm going to use the words. I say, hey, I'm going to turn off the music so music is not being affected, only video 1, and the audio is going to be affected. So bring it up, watch the editing point. So automatically in and out is selected with me highlighting it. He doesn't want it. I grab it from where? He doesn't want it, put it in. Okay, he doesn't want it. Did it come in?
He doesn't want it.
Okay, music is irrelevant. Well, it's relevant, but for this scenario, it's much easier if I don't turn the music. So now we have the he doesn't want it. Now, one guy's going to say, we'll have to go all the way back to the warehouse. So next section, to the warehouse, grab it. Grab it from where? Well, you can grab it from the source. You should be able to also, either using the insert or the overwrite, append, or place on top. So I'm going to use the insert. Well, I want to have it after. Okay, so I'm going to grab it and put it manually. There we go. So now I matched it up. And I'm going to go and if the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it. So I cut it up. Even though it's one camera angle, I have now the story put together. Watch it. Watch the result.
He doesn't want it.
We'll have to go all the way back to the warehouse.
If the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it.
You see how the system worked?
He doesn't want it.
We'll have to go all the way back to the warehouse.
If the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have.
So that's a very simple way of explaining how this tool works. This is magical. To me, when I saw it the first time, I was just, wow, this is really cool. Anyway, so the point is that right now you have a transcript that is now generated. Now, with this, now we covered the music where the voice is recognized. We covered the text, the transcript editing. We're going to now go back and close this, and we're going to go back to audio mixing, which is what the big tool is in this version. So I'm going to select a section where I think is going to be a lot of music playing. I'm going to select it with the in and out, and I'm going to loop it around. I'm going to do it live. Inspector, analyze the audio. I'm working on the audio, and the into out should loop it around. I will be working with the mixing, and the mixing is going to be music remixer. So I'm going to again play it.
You're just a sweet little schoolgirl. like an angel, but you're the devil inside. You're just a sweet little schoolgirl.
No bass, right?
You make me horny so strong. You
No drums.
got a face like an angel, but you're the devil inside.
So this is actually really powerful because it's real time, guys. It's real time. And this to me is really, really what sells it to a lot of audio people. Now, right now, what we had was additional information that in the previous version you had to symbolize as the equalizing. So if we want to equalize the sound, we can actually do equalizing on it, and we can select it, and we can work on it, turn the equalizer on it, bring up some frequencies. Now, I don't know how the speakers will react on your end, so I'm not going to mess with it. But on your end, please, you can actually figure out which is the band EQ and depending on it. But point is that each of these audio clips that are in timeline in edit can be adjusted. You don't need to go to Fairlight anymore to do that. Obviously, it's much more sophisticated, but in edit, you can do all that stuff. So now let's go back and see what else was I promising. So that was quickest and basic color grading. Let's do the auto subtitles. We did that. Audio features, adjust separate color frequency. That's going to be the next one. Separate color adjustment and basic color grading, and do the saving. So we're going to be jumping ahead. Go back to the second sequence. So in this scenario, because I promised you a whole bunch of additional clips, here are the clips, video clips. Grab, let's say, a whole bunch of them. And the story is going to be shoved into the timeline. There we go. Here it is. It's all shoved in. Do you need music under it? Yeah, maybe now, maybe not. Here is what I'm looking at, Shift Z. In order for you to quickly cut ends off and tails, I don't know if you're familiar with either Avid or Adobe Premiere, we call it tail. So the top to tail would allow me to cut the tail from that playhead. There we go, cuts it off, cuts off the music also. Editing very quickly, Command Shift, left bracket, cuts off the beginning. Editing, Command Shift, right bracket. You can also obviously use the trimmer tool, but the trimmer tool that you're looking for is going to be the real trimmer, which is going to be the dynamic trimmer, which is a ripple trimmer, as we call it. And now I will find out again that motorcycle or bicycle. I always try to call it motorcycle. It's not motorcycle. It's a kind of unicycle. No, electric bicycle. I think that's what it is. Anyways. So watch this scenario. So I have a whole bunch of clips now, and these clips can be adjusted in group or in a regular clip by clip. Clip by clip means that you park on one of them and you can adjustment. The adjustments generally, if you never dealt with DaVinci Resolve, are based on a node. So the node I have is going to be adding 2 additional serial nodes in series, which is Shift S. And in this case, I had a couple of choices. One choice, I'm going to brighten up, set up the balance. If you don't see the result, is because you don't see the scopes. And in the scopes, I'm going to use only one scope. The scope that shows me the brightness and darkness is going to be the waveform, if you're familiar with this concept. And you notice that in here, I'm going to darken things or brighten things up so it actually responds. The cool thing is that I only apply it to that node. So if I want to see the original, I just turn off the node. So that's one way. That's one way of manipulating things. There's also a tool that was additionally added lately. I don't see people using it yet, but it's a very powerful tool. I'm going to get the skin tone. So if I have a person that is a person, does the computer recognize the skin tone automatically? Yes, it does. It doesn't have to be separated. You see that it doesn't look for any other stuff. It selects the skin tone because it is artificial intelligence. Though I like this better, where I say a selection of the blues, which are the, let's say, shirt. Watch this. I'm going to change it to, let's say, multiple, maybe about 12 little sections. When I define that that is the blue, you can see that's the blue. I'm going to make the blue a little bit bluer or greener. Oh, cool. I don't even have to set up an eyedropper. It selects the frequency range. And if I want to have, let's say, more of them, for example, I'm going to lasso more of them, and I'm going to move them all to the greenish area. His face is not changing. Why not? Because the face is not that color that I picked. Powerful. I didn't even go into a second node. This is something that if you're familiar with you know how to use. If you're a novice to it, explore it. Resetting the node. Now comes the phase separation, and that's something that we generally like. Before I do that, I would like to say, let's say if all the shots are outside shots, let's say that agree that the weather condition is the same and the sun is the same. Okay, so I select one adjustment, and in this scenario, the one adjustment is going to be nice contrast, a little bit darker, and make it a little bit warmer. So I'm going to make it like a warmer thing, like a nice, warm, sunny day. Because the red, by definition, is always requiring that I balance it off. So I'm going to make it like nice brownish. Without it, with it. Now, I don't know what I'm looking at. The wrong measurement. Look at the vector scope. The vector scope shows me, in this scenario, if you never dealt with this, I'm just going to quickly explain it to you. It shows you that you have a lot of red, which is at about 11 o'clock. If I turn it off, you can see that, oh, I didn't have that. Oh, so that means that this node is the one that I pushed the red. Double check that, see if I'm correct. Yeah, I pushed the red more or took away the red. If I want to cool it off, guess what? I'm pushing the blue, take the red off. Oh, okay, so it's now a cold day. Well, it cannot be cold day because this was middle of the summer in Columbus, Ohio. So let's make it like a noon. I don't have too many shadows, so I think it's around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, nice and warm. So now, if I would like to apply it to all of the rest of the guys, this is the coolest thing. I select everybody else, or everybody else would be proper wording. I would like to make this adjustment, which is on 5, apply to 6, 7, 8, and so on. Watch the scenario. Right-click, apply the grade, and now all of them replace existing base. Yes, there we go. So everybody is now that nice. All the concrete is now, look at it, the concrete is now brownish because it's a beautiful brownish thing. That's easy, right? So that's a cool one. If you knew this, this is cool. Now I'm going to find something that is, to me, very significant, which is the separation of a color with a magic mask. I think this would be a perfect example of that. You notice that this particular orange section, I'm going to cut it up so there's not that much analysis working on it. So I'm going to go back into the editing here, zooming in, Command plus, and cut off that. Okay, the beginning I have maybe like what? There we go. That's the only thing I have. So I'm going to slice it up. Hello, slice it up, and I'm going to work on that segment where you see the fire hydrant. Please watch it. I'm going to change the color of the fire hydrant. So whatever I have on that, I'm going to get rid of. I don't care. I don't care. I want to make sure that the fire hydrant is by itself. And I don't have any color. Everything else is going to be dark or different color or blurred out or whatever. So I'm going to go and find out where the fire hydrant is. The tool that I'm now getting into this playbook is the Magic Mask. If you have dealt with Magic Mask, it has been around for a while. Magic Mask has two flavors. One is an object, which in this case it is an object, or a facial person, and the features you can pick from, for example, face. And we're going to get one of those guys that are dealing with that jacuzzi thing. So step 1, add another node, and grab and analyze and tell the computer that this hydrant that is in this particular bottom right-hand corner is going to be separated. How? Use your little thing, and you don't need to draw. You can say, hey, this is it. That's the hydrant. Okay, and how will the computer analyze it? Well, it needs to be told. And when it's done, it will tell me I'm ready to do some stuff. There we go. And when it's done, I'm going to change the hydrant color to whatever I feel like. And this is something that you guys can do. How? Well, find the hydrant. Okay, where is the hydrant? Well, I need to maybe identify it. Oh, so that it's not a dot and dot. It actually tells me that it turns it kind of, it's not turning it red. It says that's what I selected. And if it was a good selection, I can now go inside and say, I would like to have that color changed to something different. Like what? I'm going to pick that orange, and that orange is going to be made into purple. So the fire hydrant is purple. Don't trust me unless I show it to you full screen. It might take some rendering, but look at it. It's purple. The hydrant is purple. Wow. Okay. If you don't believe that it was orange before, you turn it off. Yeah, it was purple. Now, Here is the trick, and this is something that we love a lot. Anything else other than the fire hydrant should be black and white or whatever color. So in this case, if I right-click on the node, that is the node that made the magic mask, select the entire hydrant. I will add a node, outside node. The outside node means that it's the inversion of it. It's the reverse of it. So if I have that reverse, I'm going to have the saturation down. Now it's either hue is changed, which is not the one I'm looking for. I'm taking the saturation down. It's all black and white. And I would like to maybe contrast it, like really, really make it black and white contrasty. Watch it. And I'm not affecting the hydrant. So if I look at it, full screen, look at it, I change reality within seconds. This is the power of Magic Mask. So if you have dealt with it, we're talking about separation of color frequency based on the shape and color. So if that worked for you, guys, I'm very happy. Now, let's go back to the face. Remember I told you just minutes ago that I can separate the person's face. So if the person is in here. Now, anytime you are in color, basically you're looping around that section. So for example, if I played, man doesn't want it. So now the producers above my pay grade want to have him separated. Two choices. One choice is obviously I'm going to rotoscope it, but he's moving. You see that? His face is moving. So it will be hard for me to kind of do it. So for that reason, I'm going to say exactly what I just did a minute ago. This is now a person, not an object. So I'm going to maybe get a face and the face again, magic mask. And I will tell the computer, please, it's a person. And the features of the person will be the face. I will tell the computer, please, this is the face. Notice that I am not drawing exactly. I am just saying to the computer, well, this should be the face. And if that is selected, hit the play button to analyze it, because otherwise it will not follow the movement. So this will take some time, and if I did my job right, it will select only and isolate the face. Now, when he's done, and I want to see what I selected, watch this, it turns it red. Essentially, it tells me that that is what I selected. And you see that the neck is not selected because I selected only the face. Oh, okay, so just be aware of that. Anyways, my point is that right now, I would like to have him, this is not turning in red. The red only identifies what was selected. So if I would like to have him brighter, and remember, I just showed you earlier that there's a selection in this color slice. It say, hey, the skin, let's make it more warmer. That's obviously too much, or make it older, or just forget about that. Just manually say, hey, I'm going to slightly brighten up his face, slightly contrast it, and I'm going to make it like that. Not necessarily the best scenario, but if I do everything with the colors, slightly brighten his face up, slightly darken it up, and now if I look at it without or with, it's a different deal. Hit the space bar. Without, with. Now, because this is kind of things that needs to be rendered. It plays a couple of times and it renders it eventually. Now, how do I know it's rendered? I don't unless this is going to be put into edit and I say, hey, is it rendered? I'll tell the computer that in the playback, I will say render the cache user. So I will now render it manually. I'll go in, zoom in, and I'll tell that clip, please render yourself. Generate it, because now we generated this additional color to the face, right? So right click on it and we'll render cache color output. And you will see that the red line is telling me that it is going to be red. Come on, blue. There we go, there we go, there we go. And it should be rendered now when the whole blue line is there. Going back to 6, if you want to see it full screen, now it should play real time.
Take it. If the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it. If the man doesn't want it, he doesn't have to take it. If the man doesn't...
So now we explained the power of the magic mask. Without the effect, with the effect. Minimal things. And you can also change the shirt, which is object. So I don't want to waste your time. You guys probably can find all these things in other resources. But if you come to us, we have a class next week, which is basically editing, and we have some color classes. Anyways, point is that if you come to us, which is what the whole webinar is to demonstrate to you who we are, we have a scenario that if you are with us, we have this $200 off of any FMC course if you come to us. Now, here is something that I definitely would like to also show you, and this is part of how the stuff is sent out. I'm going to zoom in. This is a dialogue between two characters who are kind of trying to find out what's going on. They sit down, excuse me, she's taken, looks like a bright later. They're trying to do dialogue. And what I did was, instead of me selecting it when I was bringing it in, I selected the shots. So these guys will be now brought in. Watch it. I'm going to bring in the whole selection of them and see how smart the system is, if it is smart enough. This is a whole bunch of clips, you have to admit to it. My issue, obviously, is going to be, first of all, you have to hear it, and it's really hard to hear. So what I do is, generally, I select all these four guys, and I say, hey, raise the volume. Now, the raising the volume, to me, is really, really powerful, because in this scenario, if I raise the volume of one element, does it select all of them? No, it's individual. But if I want to select it globally, I have a choice to go into Fairlight, and in Fairlight, I can raise a track. So that's easy. But my point is that I would like to see the waveforms, and this to me is really much different than what Premiere or Avid does. In Premiere and Avid, even though you can see the waveform, in Avid, the waveform dexterity, density does not reflect the volume. It can be thicker or solid. Here, if it is thicker, you can see it is thicker, or more dense. You can hear the voice. Select all these four guys. I would like to see the subtitles from audio. Got it. Let's see if it works. Now, this scenario is going to probably take a little bit longer time. I hope it's not too long, because if you want to leave or you need to do 13 minutes, that's too long. That's too long. I need to cut it down. Sorry, go down to 2 minutes. Okay, maybe down to 1 minute. All right, so it picks it up. And when it is done, I should be able to see everything word by word by word what they say, presuming that the computer recognized everything they were saying. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because if I don't like the font, I can change the font. If I don't like the position where the subtitles are, I can put them on. And I don't know if you watch television where you see movies with subtitles. I am very distracted when they use white letter subtitles and the background is white. I don't see what they are saying. So as a foreigner, I like to see subtitles with some kind of a mask around it. And when that happens, you will notice what I mean by that. Hopefully this was working for you so far. Again, a couple of more minutes before we end. I want to make sure that I finish this, because I need to show you also how I can send out a segment. Come on, 2 seconds, 1 second, done. Got it. So now these are all the things. So you can focus, excuse me, all that stuff. So they are talking, right? Chatters, all that stuff. And you notice that the font is a specific font. So if I go into the inspector and get one of those fonts, doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter which one, I'll tell that font to be a different one. So what is the font? Well, the caption is going to be track. There we go. Open Sans. Let's change it to, let's say, I don't know, Optima. Okay, or maybe let's say Palatino. Usually time is the one that OPRST, where are you? Times New Roman, there we go. And because I said something earlier about the background, so the character is there, transform, drop shadow, there we go. The background. So the background is going to be covering. So if it's over a white area, you can see that there is a dark area. The color obviously is going to be, not blue. That's silly, but you know what I'm talking about. So now we have that option. You can turn it off. There we go, or turn it back on. And if I need to move the title is a little bit lower or higher, that would be position. Oh, okay, cool. So if I need to move it to the right, sure, it's going to be there, cover everything else, copyright, so I don't need to worry about that. My point is that this was done very, very efficiently. And if there's dialogue here, you can see that. I can hear
5 across. No, I couldn't get that.
So now the director is giving instructions, so that is also coming out. Blink and all the rest stuff. Set over there and all that stuff. So now you understand the power
Looks like it might
of
brighten
this
up
tool.
later.
If I want to send this out, mark in, mark out. And now I am distributing it, sending it to someone who wants to purchase it, who wants to pay me for it. In the export, I selected the in and out, which means that I selected the in and out section to be distributed. And because I am sending out something, subtitles, I want to make sure the subtitles also show up there. There we go. It is not as a separate file, but it's going to be embedded, including the following subtitle tracks in the export. Yeah, include the following subtitle tracks in the export. Aha, burn into video. So this is my guarantee that the subtitles that I'm sending out to people are going to be visible. With that, please, I'm selecting the into out. Where is it? Where? I'm going to define that sending it to, let's say, custom sending, and I'm going to sending it out to thanks for coming. That's going to be you guys. And I'm going to define where it goes. It's going to go on the desktop so I can find it. There we go. And when I do it, render, let's see how long it takes. Render. Anyways, when the webinar is over, it's going to be recorded. It will be up on the web probably in a couple of days. You will be able to contact whoever signed you up for the webinar and ask, hey, can I see it? What was studied? What was discussed? It will be a little bit trimmed down. All the mistakes and the oohs and ahs will be cut out, but it will be all visible and available for you guys so you know exactly what you learned. When it's done, got it. And let's see where it went. It went here. So here it is.
Upload the speaker.
Okay, shut the door and let's go, please.
Yeah, rolling.
So yeah, there's the file is there. So everything is there. You can actually distribute it. How much space does it use up? Let's right click on it, find the information, and it is using up about, I don't know, 1.38 gigabytes on the disk. So with that, I thank you for being patient. And if I go into the first one, here is the last element in this scenario. We're FMC, and thank you for coming, and you can use this discount if you sign up for classes. My name is Tibor. Thank you very much. Stay healthy, stay well, and spread the word. Thank you kindly again. Show is over. Go in peace.